What have you got there? What's
It's a mixture of two of the cordials that we've got. Just make it a little bit tropical. It's like a cocktail or something, isn't it?
you're on, yeah. I was going to say you're like on a set of James Bond, but
I'll take that.
I'll take that.
I'll take that. I don't know if I've ever seen James Bond with a Bloody Mary type thing, but
I'll be the modern take on James Bond they do eventually.
yeah, and it's clearly going to be advertised. It's like, oh, look at this tropical cordial alcoholic available in Asda and Sainsbury's.
Oh, the James Bond films now are so product placement; it's unreal.
They are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I mean, does it bother you? I mean, I don't watch a film and go, oh, it's full of product placement. I'll sit there and go, Pepsi, Heineken, Rolex, whatever. But like, who cares?
No, I think they do it so subtly. I'd like him to do something like he goes into an Aldi one day.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Just something like that.
Although I did not. Well, I mean, I've not watched Coronation Street for years, but I saw some sort of clip on YouTube, and they've got a Costa and a Co-op in Corrie.
Nice. Very nice.
Which I thought was a bit strange.
Surely, like, I guess rules of TV have changed, but back in the day, those would have been like parody versions, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So your Boster.
You'd be a Boster.
Oop.
I remember as a kid, like when my mum and dad used to watch EastEnders, and like there used to be a kid that used to have like an Arsenal shirt, and either it could never have the sponsor on,
right,
or it'd have some kind of made-up sponsor in the middle, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's so frustrating! Just have the sponsor." But yeah, I love films where the product placement is so obvious.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Do you remember when we did that, our first uni project, the video in Wolves in the box, and we did the close-up of the Oasis?
Yes.
And I was drinking from it going, Oasis.
I always remember when we did that video as well. I don't know if it was third year where we had to act something out, and we recorded a bit in the men's toilets at the union, and you punched the condom machine, and a pound came out. And you're like, oh, a pound.
We kept that in, didn't we, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and that video as well at Molyneux, the funniest bit was we got you to turn your back to camera to look out to the stadium, but all serious, like Batman, like really contemplating. And we had the camera like zoom in past you onto the wolf head, but you were like, I don't know what to do. I had to decide my future.
So, I mean, how I got a 2-1 at uni, I'll never know.
Good times they were. I mean, it was hard work, but some of the stuff was so like stupidly creative.
It was very time consuming.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, media, it's an easy one or whatever. And don't get me wrong, it's not the hard. It's certainly not biophysics or whatever. But it was very time consuming.
Yeah.
When we went to the school for that documentary, for example.
Jeez. But I remember doing the we had to edit the video.
Yeah.
I remember, I think I must have spent about 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks in that edit suite, 9 to 5, just putting it together. It was only like a 20-minute documentary.
Good times.
And on that bombshell, welcome to this week's ADQ. It is the podcast where we try and debate the questions you never thought needed answering. David Evans here at the helm once again. And joining me as always is the one to my 4. It's Mr. Mike Malins.
You No. We're recording this tomorrow. I'm not having that.
I was trying to think of what to do this week.
Bloody hell.
After last time when you went in full Liverpool regalia, which I allowed. But because we beat you fair and square. And I thought, when can I get my next revenge?
That's it, yeah. Just bring up the City result. Yeah.
This is what's going to happen every few weeks, Mike. Is then Wolves will lose heavily, or you'll beat us again, and then you'll be in full Liverpool regalia again. We'll just keep this going.
My stepdad, sorry, my father-in-law's a City fan. I text him saying, yeah, fair play, you deserve that. And we had a little bit of text. And then my barber, who's a City fan, and we have quite a bit of banter, I text him again saying, yeah, fair play. And he was like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then I said it was a penalty for Salah. And we had like this full-on 5-10 minute exchange of words and videos and stills of like, yeah, but it is like, yeah, I'm not saying he didn't dive. He did exaggerate, but he still pulled him back. You can't see his arm extended. Yes, you can. You can put it. Was, and then at the end, he was like, yeah, I love that we can have banter. And I'm like, I'm not having banter. I hate you. What are you doing?
Was it like
I don't want my haircut by you now.
Was it like a Monday Night Football? Gary Neville get the screen
Yeah.
out, slow it down. No, if you watch this and just circle that, you can see.
And he was like, yeah, I saw the match, Mike. What's your point? I was like, well, just watch it.
Oh, so we've got many questions to do this week. And well, let's get into correspondence first, Mike. Let me do a personal.
There's not a lot.
Okay, well, we'll get through them. Let me do a personal correspondence firstly.
Oh, okay, okay.
Man bun growth. Hair's a bit longer if you're watching the YouTube version. Look, like you said before we were recording, I'm unfortunately have to try and go through with this a bit, aren't I?
You've said it now. I mean, all our 15 listeners are counting on you to make sure that you got. I can't wait for the moment where it's long enough for you to have like some sort of headband.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to see you with that transition.
Yeah. And
then from there, go on to the man bun.
We'll see. Catherine has already said no. A stone.
I had a feeling she might.
Yeah. And a lot of people are messaging me saying, Dave, do not go for the man bun. I don't think I'm going to pull it off, to be honest. But let's see how far this lockdown goes. And
maybe do it for charity.
Are people really going to pay me or pay
I
charity?
Don't know. I think the people that have texted you, maybe not Catherine because she doesn't want you to do it full stop, but I think your mates that have texted you saying, no, you won't suit it, you won't suit it.
Yeah.
Knowing full well that you're going to look ridiculous with the man bun.
Okay.
If you grow it out for charity, they'd be like, yeah, I'm all behind it. Here's £5, here's a 10 or whatever.
Well, what I could say to Catherine, but I'm doing it for charity, Catherine, and she can't say no. But I say,
No.
well, you're not giving money to charity, then, are you?
Catherine is an angel, and her conscience won't allow her to say, no, I still don't want you to do it, because she'll be taking money away from kids, basically. If she says no.
Yeah, that's what she'll be doing.
I mean, it's nice that your other half listens to this.
Oh, right. Correspondence, right? Before we get into internal feuds at home. Correspondence.
Yeah, we haven't got a lot. To be fair, one that's slightly scraping the barrel from a previous episode, and another one that one of my mates texted me from a previous episode of correspondence. But I feel that they're both good enough to add in.
I think it's because so many people listen and they're just so content with what we talk about and the answers. They're just like, I've got no opinion. That is the answer.
We did try and do a poll about superheroes, but we didn't have a definitive answer. There was unfortunately, there was another comment, and they were like Spider-Man, He-Man, Ant-Man, and I tried to squash the Ant-Man. Right. So do you remember our first Christmas episode?
Mm-hmm.
I told you that I had a friend who wanted to remain anonymous. Anonymous? Is that anonymous? He anonymously text me and didn't want me to say his name out. Okay. And basically he had his Christmas decorations up on the 3rd of November, I think it was.
Yes, I do remember this, yeah.
Well, he, on the 5th of February, sent me a voice note, which I thought was brilliant. And it was like, hi, Mike, how are you? So this is the 5th of February, and I'm walking my dog, and I've just noticed 3 households that have still got Christmas decorations up.
Jeez.
By the way, it's not me, but I just thought you'd really appreciate that there's still 3 houses with decorations, and I don't appreciate it, but I appreciate the fact that he thought of me and us when going out for a walk with his dog.
I really hope that when he sent you that voice memo, he did one of those voice changes. Hello, Mike. You do not know who I am.
Except when it comes up with his name on WhatsApp. Our neighbours opposite us, they've still got a red wreath in the front of their house.
I took the girls for a walk the other day, and we did notice a house had a wreath on the front of me. I was like, "Oh, they've still got their Christmas decorations up, Daddy." I was like, "If she's noticing it, okay." So why people are still? But let's be honest, those people are probably can't be asked to take it down.
Surely they can't be asked. And again, it goes back to the lockdown and trying to get the most of it, and the ones that did stupidly put them up at the 3rd of November or whatever. There's the other side of the spectrum going, right, well, we're still in Christmas. We're still going to enjoy this. We're still drinking every day and eating loads of food. And I hope they're exchanging presents.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I hope that they're still on the 25th of January and then the 25th of February and whatever, they're still exchanging presents.
Yeah, let's
then
hope
it's
so.
fine. I accept that, and I want to be a part of your family if that's the case.
Okay, so more Christmas decorations up. Any other correspondence, Mike?
Yes. So, do you remember our first episode ever of Series 1?
How could I forget it?
I've since listened to it and it's awful. The sound wise, anyway. But do you remember that good old question, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yeah.
Well, over Christmas, and I'm bringing this out now because we've got no other correspondence. Over Christmas, at Fancy Accents on the Instagrams, told me of an account called Nathan WPLLE Strange Planet.
Okay. Catchy name. Catchy name for a
It's selling T-shirts of a hot dog emoji with arms dancing, saying, "Am I a sandwich?" Which I think is brilliant, and it shows how far our podcast is spreading. That people are now unofficially using our content to make monetary gains.
Okay, so maybe we both need to try and buy one of those T-shirts for another episode.
I'll see if I find out how much they are.
Okay,
lovely. And then then one episode we're both wearing "Am I a sandwich?" and then we copyright it and sue him.
Okay, lovely. So that's correspondence this week. I'm guessing that's it. Okay, so well, look, people, you can get in touch with us. It's quite easy. We do ask questions, we do answer questions, and we know that 99% of the time we are completely wrong. So we'd like to hear your versions of the answers as well. Mike, for those good people who have, for some reason, forgotten last week to send in correspondence, can you please remind them how they can do that?
Of course I can, David. It's easy. We have 2 social accounts. We've got an Instagram and we've got a Twitter. At adaftquestion, quite easy. Sounds exactly the same as our podcast. You can send us questions, reply to tweets, send us DMs, whatever you want. We also have a YouTube channel. Again, a Daft Question, and you can send us messages. Well, you can't send us messages. I'm still trying to get used to YouTube. It's a whole new thing for YouTube for me. You can comment on the videos, or simply email us adaftquestion@gmail.com.
I've just realised there is one more correspondence which came from YouTube because my friend who put the comment in, good old Mr. Matthew Hobbs, texted me saying, "Well, are you going to read out my correspondence or not?" Which is, the first episode of this series, we talked about the 3 shells from Demolition Man.
Yes.
He put a comment on there saying, "I thought you meant the 3 shells from Mario Kart." Were you ever a Mario Kart player?
Oh, ish. We didn't have a Nintendo. We had a Sega Master System after asking for a Mega Drive. That was a huge disappointment.
Oh, jeez. I was going to say.
So we had a Master System, but we still had Sonic and everything. And then we went on to Sony and PlayStations. So we didn't really have a Nintendo. So it was always if we went to someone else's house, we'd play it.
Okay. From a geeky point of view, I really appreciate the joke. So in Mario Kart, when you drive around the track and you like drive through like a question box and you get like a weapon or something to use on the track, one of those choices is shells that you throw at the other carts to try and knock them over.
Yep.
And you can get 3 shells as either a green or a red or whatever. So yeah. I appreciate it. I looked at that and went, ha ha ha. So it was the actual version of a lol. You know when you put lol in a message. And sometimes I think people do actually laugh out loud a bit now, more so in a lockdown scenario.
I do it more as a joke to my brother. So if he'll send me something, I'd be like, lol. Rather than actually sitting there going, ha 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 ha, as you do, David. Very quickly, there is a quick correspondence actually. I saw my chiropractor yesterday, and every time I go, I'll be like, "Have you listened to the podcast? Listen to the podcast. Listen to the podcast." He listened to one of the Christmas episodes.
Yeah,
loved it. But he says he enjoys the bit before the start of it. So when we just have a general chit chat, he says it's really funny. It's nice to know what goes on in your personal life. So I was like, good. We're going to keep that in for you, Nige.
So from that chiropractor update, by the way, we need to have that as a regular feature now, chiropractor update.
Well, I'm only seeing him now. I'm seeing him in 6 weeks because my back's not as bad now. So in episode 8, 9, I'll come back and see what he says.
Okay, so get ready for chiropractor update in a few weeks. But also based on his feedback, we now need to scrap all the questions and just talk about our personal lives.
Yeah. Oh, and one of my friends also liked the toolbox conversation we had last week.
Very good, very good.
The week before.
People like what we do. That's all I want to know.
Apparently so.
Okay, enough correspondence. So you can get in touch. Official channels, please. Don't text us personally or message us.
2 mates have kicked off from me because of that. They're like, well, we're not going to bother now. We're not going to say anything. Like both of them text me. I was like, yeah, can you send me an email or can you do it through the official channels? And they've gone, right, well, sod you. I'm not going to bother now.
Official channels, please follow the guidance. Okay, let's get on to questions. Michael, smells. We all like to smell.
Wow,
if
we're
we
going in
can.
hard.
We're going hard on the smells. We all like to smell, and we all think that perhaps we've own.
Tagline right there. We all like to smell. Right, sorry, there's someone knocking on my door. Hang on a minute. Brilliant.
Oh, he's being serious. Someone is actually knocking on his door. Well, that was comedy gold right there. Well, we're still recording the podcast. You can get in touch at Daft Question, Twitter, Instagram, email at adaftquestion@gmail.com. I mean, this is a monologue bit, isn't it? When I'm just going to keep talking. And luckily, Michael's back straight away. He's going to put his headphones on.
So back to smells.
Thank goodness for that, because I was going to have to go proper talking on my own segment then, and I was going to know what to say. Anyway, smelling. We all probably think we've got our own smell, but we can't smell that smell. I'm just trying to think of a blurb here, Mike. I'm waffling to get to the question.
I think we just stick with we all like to smell.
Mike, my question to you is, does every house inside have its own smell? And if it does, what do you think your own house smells like?
Oh, I don't know if you sent me that second follow-up question. Yes and no.
Okay.
I think if you're old people, then yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely some sort of woody aroma with the older people.
Okay.
And I think if you don't clean your house, and there's definitely a smell. Mm-hmm. But then also, if you clean your house, there's a fresh fragrance there. Yeah. But I don't know if.
So I remember as a kid going to either friends' houses or relatives or whatever, or like grandparents and whatnot, and they all seem to have a unique smell to them.
Okay.
You couldn't ever identify what that smell was, but you notice it straight away. When I've got older, right. I don't think I notice that anymore. I always thought that was always the case. So,
I mean, the thing is, I've not really been in anyone's house for nearly a year.
Yeah.
So I've not had recent experience to be like, oh, pancakes.
But when hopefully we do, it'll just hit you. Whoa!
Yeah, suddenly every house will have a different smell and be like, yep, that's you. Yeah, I think certain. So I don't know if there's. I don't know if we have a smell.
You wouldn't smell your own smell though. I think like.
I don't. You're going to say farts or something, weren't you?
No, you live in the house all the time, so you wouldn't smell the unique smell of your house. But if someone else came to your house, they may think in their heads that your house smells of a certain smell.
So what would it smell of? Charisma.
Oh.
I don't know. What is it? Baby smell?
Yeah. Because as a kid, I used to always think, of course, I had these thoughts. What does my house smell like? I remember a couple of my sister's exes used to say my mum and dad's house always used to smell of like detergent, like cleaning products. Now, in fairness, my mum, we used to like clean 24/7.
Yeah.
I don't know how with four of us, the house was actually immaculate every single day. And I remember going to other people's houses and it used to have a unique smell. Like I remember my grandparents and mum and dad's and my mum's side used to have a bit of a musty smell to it.
Right.
Not like off-putting, it just always had that smell.
Is that an old people smell?
But that's what I think, yeah.
I think if I remember as a kid, my dad's dad and stepmom, I'm sure they had a smell. I can't remember what type of smell, but I seem to think it was like it's an old person's old people's homes. They have a smell.
Yeah.
That's your definite old people smell of woody, musty, death kind of smell in the air. But I couldn't put my finger on to say what it was exactly.
I'm trying to think what this, because obviously we've talked about, I've just moved to a new house, so I don't know. But when we moved to this house, it definitely had a smell.
Right, okay.
And I'm trying to remember what kind of it smelled. Well, I think it smelled a bit more like dog.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's
If they had a dog, it
if
doesn't
they
make
had a
sense.
dog, yeah.
If they didn't have a dog, it doesn't make sense in the slightest.
But definitely when we moved in, that night when we moved in, it definitely had a smell to it. And then obviously over the days that went, that kind of smell went.
Mm.
And I couldn't tell you what that smell is. But I'm always intrigued to think if someone new ever came to the house when we're allowed to. By the way, just while you're here, so
Yeah.
Can you smell anything?
I'm going to do that from now on.
Yeah.
Like following this, when people can come into the house and be like, "Hey, good to see you again. Come in. Right, stop. Just let me know what kind of notes you're getting in the air. How would you describe the smell of our house?
Give them a wine glass as well. Just do that. Just. But yeah, this house definitely had a version of a smell, I would think. So apart from charisma, what else do you think your house smells like?
Talent.
Yeah. Nappies.
Upstairs, there's a smell of nappies. I think her wardrobe. When I open Ivy's wardrobe, I can smell ivy.
Yeah.
And that's a nice smell. I'm like,
yeah.
And my room, when I wake up in the morning, I'll be like, oh yeah, I farted. But I don't know about the house. It depends what we're cooking. Like I can smell sometimes a couple of hours later what we've had for tea and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what a nice warming smell of vanilla and artichoke.
This is the hope, isn't it? This is the hope smell. I would just be intrigued to know whether anybody else has the same thought that they go into other people's houses and there's got a smell, or whether I'm just insane and I've.
No, I think there's definitely a theory there, as I said, because certainly with old people, I think there's a smell, and I think you can tell if someone, like you said with your mum, if someone regularly cleans their house like every day or whatever, polishes and puts your ambipure in the plug socket and whatever, I think there's a definite smell there. And on the flip side, if you don't do anything to your house, there's all sorts of bad aromas that you just don't comment on. But whether it's I think there's a theory there, but it would be interesting to see if other people have walked in someone's house and gone, this smells different to mine.
Yeah. Well, let us know if pre-lockdown you had those opinions. And then obviously, hopefully, once we get to some version of post-lockdown where we're allowed into people's houses, please just walk into the house, hug your family or friends, whoever it is, when you're allowed to. And then first thing you do, just take a big whiff and then please report back.
Yeah. I mean, as you've seen, we've done correspondence from the first episode and the Christmas episode. So we're quite happy to go back and do correspondence of previous episodes. So if this is series 4, episode 10, and you walk into a house and go, it smells different, let us know.
This is classic sitcom storylines, Mike. You have to revisit stuff from previous series. Give people, the long listener fans, the rewards. Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's just like Marvel films. It's great. Okay, smelling of the house is done. We need some correspondence on that, so please let us know. Let's get on to listener questions, Michael.
Cool.
Right, it's time for listener questions. This is the point of the show where you send us your questions and we try our very best to answer them if we can, but we also accept correspondence. You see how desperate we are for your versions of answers on these questions as well. Michael, what have the people been sending us in the last few days?
So we've got a great question from our friend at Dr. Wilding, our Twitter friend.
Good old Dr. Wilding, yeah.
Great questions. Come in. Did Jackie Weaver have the authority?
Oh, I loved this video. Absolutely loved this video.
If nobody's seen this video, just type in Jackie Weaver on YouTube and you'll see. I don't recommend the full 18 minutes because I don't think there's any point. It just kind of tails off, I think, a little bit.
Have you somebody's done like a 15-minute the best of that whole meeting?
Oh, right. No, I haven't.
That's very good to watch as well.
Okay.
Have you seen the latest Zoom etiquette faux pas video that went around yesterday of the American kind of court system going on, and the guy with the cat filter?
And the best thing was he said, "I'm not a cat. I'm a real person."
But the cat filter, at that moment, he looks worried as well.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. So did Jackie Weaver have the authority, David?
I've read an article afterwards that actually said that in that context, she didn't have the authority.
Well, I don't think she did.
No.
I think what's happened is out of that group of technophobes, she's the only one that really gets how to work Zoom.
Yeah.
So she's set up the meeting. And then because the chairman said something that she didn't like, she was like, she was a bully at school. She was like, no, get rid of you. And that was it. And then eruption. It was brilliant. But I don't think she had the authority.
I like to think though that she did. That's my version.
Well, I'd like to think she did. Because otherwise it's just rude.
I'm sure you can, there's a shortcut on Zoom. I've done it before. If you ever want to wind up any of your mates, if you've got like a group Zoom call, I think it's Control F, I think. If you're in a call and someone says, oh, so-and-so's playing a call, I'm trying to get this to work. Just say, oh, have you tried pressing Control F? And I think when you do that, they just kick themselves out the meeting.
Oh, right.
So try that I think it's Control F. Try that in a future Zoom meeting to wind up one of your mates.
I mean, all of them, I think, listen to this, to be fair to them.
So,
I think.
Any mates that don't, I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jackie Weaver, I very much think she had the authority. I'm in that camp.
You think she did?
I think she had the authority. Yeah.
Right, okay. I think legally, as they all like to keep saying, legally, I don't think she did. But as the organizer of the meeting, then she does have powers that other people don't have. Okay. And she exercised that power.
She should have just put a cat filter on everyone next time. Just do that. It'll make it better. Right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wilding, for that excellent question. Other correspondence, Mike?
Yes. So we've got at Chloe Louise 1903. She's well old.
I was going to say.
On the Instagram, message us saying, I'm just going to read the message. She messaged, hi, just wondering if you could answer my question on whether water is wet or if it makes things wet.
Oh, okay. Water is wet, isn't it? It makes things wet once it touches a surface or another component. But ultimately, water... Oh, this is the orange one again, isn't it? Because in order to touch water... you are therefore making making the surface wet of whatever if you put your hand in water.
I would say water is wet. That would be because you get wet from it, so it has to be wet to be wet. That's me saying I'm solid, but then you're like, well, I don't know if you're solid unless you touch me. So then I touch you and you can feel that I'm solid.
I think this is how the band Wet 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 got their name from. They were trying to debate this question and they said wet so many times.
So one guy in the corner has just gone, oh, wet, wet, wet. Hang on.
Write that down, Barry. Write it down. Wet, wet, wet. Okay. Yeah, I think water is wet. We'll go through that one. Okay.
And then at Metallica UK.
Good old Matt.
Has sent a scenario to us. He's obviously, it's happened to him and he wants to get our opinion. I'm at a cafe and they're making me a milk-based drink and use milk from 2 different bottles. It makes my skin crawl. Just open a new bottle, not mix the end of the first one. What do you think?
So is he saying what they've ended one bottle, they've still got more of this drink to do, so they've opened up another bottle.
Yeah, to
go in. I personally don't have a problem with that.
No, won't bother me.
No, sorry, Matt. I don't. What is he suggesting to do then if they're halfway through?
I think he says at the end, just open a new bottle, not mix the end of the first one. So rather than use that little bit left in one bottle, he would prefer them to waste that milk.
Oh, okay.
And then to open the new bottle and just use what the quantity needed.
Again, I personally don't have a problem. It's wasting milk, isn't it, surely?
Yeah.
I can see what he means, maybe.
Not a good message, that.
Is it like the dregs? Do you think it's the dregs of the milk and therefore it's not? It might be a bit off.
I'm thinking, obviously the bottle that's coming towards the end has been open longer and it's probably closer to its best before date than the fresh bottle of milk. So rather than mixing the slightly maturer milk with a fresh new milk, he just wants new milk.
No, sorry, Matt. I don't really care on that one. Let us know what other people think. Are you in Matt's camp or are you not in Matt's camp? Okay, other questions.
Yeah, it's a tough one, this, because I've never watched it, but I understand the idea of the show.
Okay.
So, at Stu J4Z has asked, how is it possible that Midsummer Murders is a big deal on American Netflix? And I didn't even know it was.
No,
until
so
he said this
when
tweet.
I saw this answer, I had to Google it to see if I could find any news stories like Midsummer Murders #1 on Netflix in the US, and I couldn't see anything. My presumption is Americans love the quaint British countryside poshness, don't they? So they probably like that aspect when they see Midsummer and they see the little village life. And it's just a murder mystery.
With a nice little spin on it.
This probably, again, episode in series 1 about EastEnders and how did people get to move to the area? How do estate agents sell?
Yeah.
Surely the same with Midsummer Murders. The crime rate must be there, extortionate.
Just don't look at any papers. Don't look at any papers.
This is the Fireman Sam complex again, having too many resources for a small seaside town.
We've actually got... Oh, sorry, go on.
All I was going to say is Midsummer must have the police force of a city or the crime unit. They must have their own FBI just for that area.
Well, isn't it not just based on one woman that is a detective? Is that not? I thought Midsummer Murders was one woman.
Isn't it a guy for Midsummer Murders? Again, never watched it. I remember listening to a program on, I think it was on 5 Live ages ago, where they were talking about Midsummer Murders. And there is somewhere, we're trying to get out for next week if we can remember.
Well, it's two guys. It is two guys.
Yeah, there is a Wikipedia page that goes through all the deaths in every single episode.
Of Midsummer Murders?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So maybe I might try and dig that out for next week as technical correspondence. But yeah, it must be, I think it must be popular because it's the quaint British village lifestyle. That's how I take it.
Cool.
Okay. Stu, if you found an article that proves this, that why it's so popular, please send it.
Does he watch Midsummer Murders?
He must do. Stu, knowing Stu very well, he watches everything. So
from what I know of Cage Fighting podcast and his Twitter, I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Okay. Stu, please let us know. Get back in touch. Give us some kind of article that proves Midsummer Murders' popularity in the old USA. Other questions, Mike?
We're going to leave it at that because we've got one, but it requires some purchases and some training on my behalf because I want to beat you that we're going to do next week.
There is one that I think we mentioned last week. We might have talked about this week, so we might have to just mention it now. Richard Hobbs's question from 2 weeks ago about Hunger Games.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Did you say you've not watched Hunger Games?
I've never watched Hunger Games.
Okay. So I've watched it, and it's basically, do you know what the concept of it is, what they have to do?
I think there's a group of people, and to stay alive, they have to stay alive in a game.
Yeah, so they're basically, to try and simplify it, they're on an island, they all get dumped on, and then at the start of it, when they're dumped on, like a massive crate of different weapons is dumped, and they have to almost run to the crate, pick up what they want, run away, and it's basically who survives.
There we go. Yeah, so he asked us, Richard Hobbs 6, how would you / what is the best way to survive the Hunger Games?
See, I think rather than just going for a weapon and almost being in a scenario when you pick up a weapon, someone else could just do something to you with said weapon. At that moment, I would just run the opposite way. Just run away from everybody else and create further distance and the potential just to hide somewhere.
I'm pretending to understand what you're saying.
So, okay, I'm trying to explain. So, you're all...
Is it like, have you watched Death Race? The movie?
No, but
right,
it might be the same.
It's concept. Prisoners, and then they put on TV. It's a race, and the survivor gets to leave jail. I think, and it's just like it's a death race. He's driving along, but all these things happen, and you die. Is it similar to that? Is it that kind of?
I don't know. It might be. Right, I've not seen Death Race. Just imagine, right? Me, you.
Crack on, David.
Right, me, you, and some of our friends. We're all dumped on an island. We all fall at the same time on an island, right? Yeah, and right in front of us is a massive... Yep. Right in front of us is like a massive crate of weapons, all open. Yeah, different weapons, swords, knives, guns, bow and arrows, whatever, right? You've got to run to this crate, pick up one item. Yeah. And then run away. Everybody disperse without trying to get killed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could pick up a knife and I could try and throw at you and kill you, and that's it. You're out the game.
Right.
I'm still right.
So it's the group of people. Let's say it's 10 people, and there's a group of people, and they're all fighting against each other.
Yes, and it's whoever survives the last, right? So my theory would be, because everyone's running to the same middle to pick up a weapon to then disperse and survive.
Right.
I wouldn't run to the weapons. I would run away. So you give yourself more time to run away from everybody else, more time to hide. And also, when I run away, let's say there's some forest area, I would try and hide near the edge of that forest. Because my theory would be everybody's going to run in an opposite direction and as deep as possible.
Okay.
So everyone's just going to run past me and forget I'm there.
Sure. It sounds like a tactic for the Royal Rumble that you just leave under the bottom rope and hide and wait until everyone's done it, and then you come out and be like, push you over the edge. Yeah, I've won. That's
basically what I would do. So that's my thing for Hunger Games, Rich. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Okay, listener questions done. Are we? Yes.
Yes.
Good. Michael's so riveted by that Hunger Games chat.
Well, no, I was 100% listening. I was just getting ready for the secret question that I'm going to ask.
Okay. Well,
I was listening, and I understand the concept.
Okay, good. Right. Okay. List of questions done. Thank you very much for sending them in. Just a quick recap, Mike, how people can send in their questions after you've had the ice cube.
We're ready. Twitter and Instagram at adaftquestion. Email us adaftquestion@gmail.com. Or if you want to send us a comment and then for us to read it 3 weeks later, go on YouTube and search a Daft question.
Lovely. Right. It's now time for surprise question. It's surprise question time. It's the part of the podcast where Michael or I will ask each other a surprise question. We've had no pre-planning for it whatsoever. It's completely off the cuff, and we have to try and answer it as best as possible. This week, it's Michael's turn to ask myself this surprise question. Michael, what have you got store this week?
So cast your mind back to a time where at work you could go into meetings and you could see people and everyone sits together and listens to somebody tell you you're doing a naff job or a good job or whatever the meeting is for. My question, David, is if you could have a theme music to walk into the meeting at work, what would, and it's not wrestling related, it's like a song, the pop song or whatever is on the radio, whatever. What song would you choose as your theme music to walk into a meeting with?
This is like every wrestling fan's dream, especially, I would say, to have your own and have that moment where you have that entrance theme. The problem is, I'd probably still have to stick to the wrestling side of it. I think it's the only way, really. What would I have? I'm trying to think of something really good.
Well, that's a relief.
Yeah. The problem is, I think it also depends on the tone of how you're entering the meeting as well. So, for example, if I want to be purposely late and they say, "Oh, where's David gone?" then you'd have the Stone Cold music because you'd have the shatter glass and you just walk in like a badass. But if you want your own, in this scenario, does everybody get their own entrance music?
Yeah,
go to the meeting, or is it just me? Oh,
yeah.
right,
I'm thinking everyone has an entrance theme music.
Okay,
and you've got to have one for every single meeting.
Okay.
But purposely focus on like the impact of the first meeting.
Okay.
I think it's the first time you can do this. What are you going to do?
I think for most impact and to try and big myself up, and we're relating to something we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I'm going for the Big Show. Well, really? It's a big show. I'm just walking,
and then you come out as such a disappointment. Oh, David.
Yeah,
hi guys.
But then
my man bun.
But then I set up the pyro. Would you have? I would set up pyro as well in the meeting, so that when I come out,
you'd have pyros.
And
okay.
Or
I didn't think of pyros.
You could also have the Kurt Angle theme music. But then everybody would chant "You suck at you."
No, that's not Kurt Angle.
Is that Rocky?
Generic. That's not even. Yeah, move on.
But then everybody would go, "You suck." I was like, "No, that doesn't work." But then I would I'll go to my knees and put my hands up there and have the pyro behind me.
You've thought about this more
Yeah.
in 2 minutes than I have for 3 weeks.
But I think, again, I think this probably is in tune more with wrestling fans or people who used to watch it in the Attitude Era back in the day, who would probably secretly like their own entrance music into a meeting.
I think a lot of people, whether you watch wrestling or not, if you could walk into a meeting and then you've got your music that hits and everyone's like, oh, it's such a body, I think it'd be pretty cool.
You could have, to really freak people out, is it Randy Orton's music where it's like, I hear voices in my head, and people go, geez, he hears voices in his head. What's he doing here?
Oh, he must be medieval.
Would you have the Rock's music and go full rock? So when you walk in the meeting, you ignore everyone, you pull up a chair, fling your arm up and smell the air and be like, oh yes, this room does have a smell to it.
I didn't think of any wrestling music.
Well, okay, would you, let me think, hang on. What would Mike go for? Okay. Surely it wouldn't be Bublé because that's a bit too soulful.
I had two, but I had to get rid of one.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be lynched.
Surely one of them has got to be a 5 song.
That might be the one that's in front of me, yeah.
I'm trying to think, which 5 song would it be? It wouldn't be would it be the We Will Rock You cover?
No.
I'm just imagining you'd come in at the point where Jay does the rap and you would do the rap. What?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, go on. Which song is it?
If You're Getting Down by 5.
Yes.
So,
of course.
Imagine the scene. It's quiet. It's all black. There's no lights on. And then suddenly, if you're getting down, baby, I want it now, baby. Come and get it on, baby. I want it now, baby. And they haven't come in yet.
Okay.
Right? And the lights are flashing. Scene number 1. Scene number 1. Lights are flashing. Everyone's like, oh, what's going on? What's going on?
Derek,
and then I walk in.
Derek, have you fixed those electrics yet?
There's a guy in the corner having an epileptic fit.
You've just hired someone with the light switch going up and down.
Yeah. And then I come in with, I want to take a little time to refresh your mind because the boys are back in town with a different kind.
Please continue with the rap.
Who's got the funk? You got the funk, right? Everybody want to boogie down tonight. Now throw your hands up in the sky. Move around from side to side. I got what it takes to beat the place. Your funky bass. I'll give everybody crazy shakes. Come on.
Please.
I'd walk in on that bit.
Okay, please. You did know that off by heart. You weren't reading that off some lyrics.
I did. I had lyrics as a backup, but 98% of that was memory. There was just 1 or 2 words I had to make sure that I said correctly.
We need to, in some kind of post-lockdown, we need to somehow try and recreate that with you in a meeting, doing that. Because that reminds me slightly of David. Do you ever seen The Office with David Brent when he does the most motivational talk? I've
seen odd episodes of The Office. It's brilliant. I'm not saying it's not. I've just never watched it as a collective series.
There's one where he does like a motivational talk and he comes out to simply the best.
Yes, I have seen that.
So, but we need to try and recreate that with you doing the rap,
right?
And so me in the corner, begrudgingly just doing the light switch.
I'll have Ivy sat down in her high chair, and I'll walk out, and then I'll press play, and suddenly I'll come in like, "Your boys are back in town with a different kind." And we're like, "Yeah, Ivy, your dad's sick."
So I'm going for Big Show easily there, and then Mike, because we had to know your answer, because I needed to know what you were going to have for that 5 try.
The other one, I can't remember which one it was, but another one was a Jay-Z one. I can't remember which song I decided to pick, but because it featured the N-word a few times, I thought, don't know if I can get away with that.
No, I don't think so at all. No. Okay, surprise question. Very good question this week, Mike. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so it's time for last question of the podcast. Michael, shopping. It's something we'd like to do if we can and safely in the current lockdown scenarios. But let's imagine a world, Michael, where lockdown is not there. We can freely go to the shop without a mask on and whatnot. But you want to play a little bit of a game with the shopping people. I'm saying this question, I can hear my girls in the background just going crazy in the kitchen.
Hear them.
So yeah, they're doing that anyway. So anyway, shopper, you can do what you want, but you want to play. I'm hearing pots and pans just being thrown about.
How are you feeling about that? Are you sat there like, yeah, Catherine's dealing with it, or they are making a noise and a mess, and she's not handling this how I would handle it?
I'm doing a professional podcast. So anyway, so we're shopping. You want to play a bit of a game, Michael. So you have to go around the your shopping place of shop. Let's say supermarket, of course, and you have to you are picking 3 items to take to the checkout system to freak them out. Mm-hmm. What 3 items are you picking to freak out your checkout assistant?
I had a dark answer for this.
Okay, I think a lot of people probably went into the same tangent when you think of this question. In fairness,
because it kind of years and years ago, it kind of happened to me. And I thought, and I put it on the conveyor belt, and I thought, this doesn't look good. But it was 2 items. It wasn't 3. So I'm just going to add an item to it, I think.
Okay.
So it was.
I'm looking forward to this.
So I went to Tesco.
Yeah.
And and got some lube.
Yeah.
But I also remember thinking, oh, I need to get such a body's birthday card. And they were a child. So on the conveyor belt, I had some lube and a kid's birthday card.
Oh, okay.
And I thought nothing of it until I put it on. I was like, oh, yeah, that doesn't look good.
But like, did you like quickly trying to get some more things, and you were just like chocolate buttons? I
was too late. I was too late. I put it down. I was waiting in the queue, and I thought, oh shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So to add to that,
I
would get a cucumber.
Yeah, that does actually make it a lot worse.
Very dark.
See, I was thinking the same kind of line. So I would have said lube as well, maybe some carrots. So you're starting to build up a picture. Right. But then the last item, you go completely random for them to think, what the hell are you planning?
Right, yeah.
So I was thinking, this is where Aldi comes in again, and you go to the special aisles.
Yeah.
And you pick, so I'd be maybe a pack of carrots, some lube, and a foldable ladder. Something like that.
Right.
Or the same thing, but a dog bed.
Wow, a dog bed.
But you put those 3, and you'd be like, I mean, I get the carrots and lube, but I don't get the ladder. I was
that's what people are queuing about it on the Thursday for.
In the same kind of tangent, somebody, a friend of mine years ago when she was at uni, she had a summer job at Boots, and she said that when you used to have like the big like offers, like the 3 for 2s and that, you used to get like men in their 40s like bulking up, like buying the 3 for 2 triple packs of condoms.
Right, okay.
And going to the, like, she was like, you know, you'd have these men come to the till with just like 3 massive pack of condoms, and you'd be like, how do I react to this?
The thing is, they're going to talk about it with the other colleagues.
Yeah.
Like when, like you've been in retail as well. Like if anything, something like that happened, you can't wait to tell somebody about this just happened, or they've just bought this, and why do you think he's got a birthday card and lube and a cucumber, or whatever? You can't wait to be like, and then from that they'll come up with all different scenarios, guaranteed.
Yeah, but I was trying to think of other ones.
What kind of condoms was it? Were they just your normal ones, or was it
Mike, I
ribbed
just
for her pleasure?
Oh, Mike, I just blocked it out of my memory. That there's like a perception filter over that part.
Were they flavoured?
Oh, please. Yeah, I was trying to think of some other random things you could put in on a. I mean, the 3 items here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have a mental breakdown now. It's coming back into my head. I'm going to have therapy. Mike, a few weeks later, Mike, I've gone into therapy because it come back into my head. I was trying to think of some like random things that would like people would think, what the hell is going on? But I think unfortunately we all went to the same place.
Yeah, I mean you've got to start with lube because then an array of possibilities.
The only thing I thought of is I'd buy a massive chicken and 2 packets of dairy milk.
What about a teddy bear?
Yeah.
Some condoms, And WD-40.
No, Crispies.
Oh, crisps.
Crispies.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the shopping done for later on.
Yeah, boom.
So a debut appearance for my eldest daughter there.
Aww.
Yeah. So she'll have a go at me later when I forget to get them.
Forget.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that would freak me out.
Mm.
And I'm so
Especially
glad.
if it was one of them massive teddies as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just while I'm here, I just thought I'd get some WD-40 for the door.
Yeah, that would freak me out, I think. I'm interested to hear what other people's 3 things would be.
That would be great. It would be great if that would be great correspondence.
Yeah, and I think we'd be great to not only hear your 3 things, but if you have been in a scenario like you where you put 3 things down, or if you have been in the retail sector,
other end,
and just strange things. I really want to hear that. So yeah, and on that bombshell, Mike, unless
you need to get some crisps.
I need to go to the shops and get some crisps. Yeah, but on that bombshell,
what flavour would she want?
She said the green one. So
we'll get to the bombshell in a minute.
Yeah.
What flavours are you gonna get?
Well, she's green, so she's talking salt and vinegar.
Okay.
But I always find it annoying. Maybe this is another question for another time. That different crisp brands may have different colours for their.
I think that is a different question because the Walkers especially is annoying.
But I think the Walkers set the benchmark of colours.
Have we mentioned this before?
We may have done. Let's leave that for another week.
Yeah, that could be a good question.
But yeah, okay. So on that bombshell, Mike, I've got a shopping order to do. And maybe apart from the crisps, I'll buy 2 other items as well to freak out the people at the shops. We'll see what they do. Michael, just to remind people, because we're so desperate at correspondence, no one can really tell. But how do people finally get in touch with the show every single week?
Instagram, Twitter, @adaftquestion. YouTube, search adaftquestion. Email us, adaftquestion@gmail.com. Boom.
Lovely. So for this week, we'll have another episode next week as always. But for this particular week, it's bye from Mike.
And it's bye from David.
Bye from me. See you next time.